Good afternoon, guys. My name is Oscar, and my country was Jamaica, and I'm doing JSL, which is Jamaican Sign Language. My country is fairly small. It's located in the Caribbean with a population of 2.8 million people, with about 54,000 of those individuals being deaf. There are about 12 to 14 specialized education institutions that are mainly ran by the Jamaican Association of the Deaf, which is JAD, or other religious organizations. I have one listed here, which is the Jamaican Deaf Village, where people can live, work, and grow. And they reinforce those goals by providing jobs, training, and community functions. And they do believe that they could give back to God for what they have been blessed for in that community, since it is a religious organization. There are three main cities where deaf communities are prominent. However, the biggest one being Kingston, and the JD was established around 1938, where they reinforced more schools and more legal protections for deaf individuals. Types of language documentation. There is documentation of JSO. There's dictionaries and other resources that are provided. However, I listed here as no because there is no widely accessible documentation for many individuals due to the geographic location. As for visual and multimedia resources, the JAD is in charge of providing resources for JSL material, and they do get this material passed down by local linguistics and institutions from their region. And these medias and resources provide basic vocabulary and grammar, and it's supposed to help with cultural expression and language awareness, as well as those T-shirts and mugs that are being provided for them as merch. They do have some brochures that are published, and they give those to Christian schools, medical facilities, and public institutions, again, for that awareness of JSL. Here I have a book, Deaf Cultures and Jamaican History Overview by Dr. David. He basically researched and wrote about the Caribbean JSL and their unique linguistic features. And he touched bases and worked on the syntax, the morphology, phonology, and that really helped for the formal documentation of JSL. However, I cannot find the book or the link for it, but I did provide the link for the article that talks about that book. JSL is not the official recognized language. However, the language that is recognized there is English, and many people do believe that this could be due to societal attitudes toward deafness, the prioritizing of English in the educational system, and the lack for that political push that is still wanted. Language variation. There is a lot of historical connection between JSL, ASL, and BSL, which is the British Sign Language. Quick overview: an individual around 38 came, taught BSL to deaf individuals, and many of the JED schools that were provided back then was staffed by many British individuals. So then we had the missionaries from Northern American came, pushed away BSL, introduced ASL to the community, and that's where we have a lot of connection between JSL and ASL. However, there did they did start to see a lot of changes in the cultural aspect of the language and the meaning of many signs. For example, start, we have this hand movement for start. For them, it has a sexual connotation. So that's when they started changing um, ASL in their schools and providing more JSL material. There is a Jamaican country sign. Again, indigenous sign due to their geographic location back then, didn't have enough schools. So they created their own sign. It's used amongst every villagers, signers, and deaf and non-deaf individuals. It was passed throughout generation, right? And now that there's a lot of schools prominent in that area, the newer generation and older generation are starting to see more of a code switching between younger people. So they sign in JSL and they also do country sign, but the old generation is not worried about the loss of countryside because they do believe that JSO is the future of their language. And there is no countryside material. However, there is some videotape of Bible stories in countryside. As for access, we are starting to see more improvement in the welcoming of deaf communities, We have day-to-day services. We are starting to see more of an increase of deaf individuals in political activities, like the National Youth Parliament. We are starting to see more sports competition between the deaf individuals and their communities with like movie nights, beach days or nights, the drama groups, and social gatherings. And there are interpreters. However, these interpreters that are provided for them are not really vetted or have the right education to be interpreters for JSO. So many of the deaf individuals view those interpreters not as interpreters, but as signers and communication assistants due to that lack of knowledge. As for emergency resources, they do lack better ways in communicating for deaf individuals. Quick overview of the timeline: 1938, JAD was established. 2000, you see that ratification of the UN Convention for Disabilities, for people with disabilities, to push more resources. To now, we're still trying to see more of inclusion. Thank you, and here are my resources.